What I always say is I'd like to hire a neurologist to study people watching animation. I'd love to find out what parts of the brain light up. We're so glad, first of all, to be able to make the show. And our first goal was to not ruin the TV show. We wanted to make a movie only if we could do a good job on both things at the same time. Then the next goal was to make something that could truly be a movie. We love making a TV show. We feel very lucky to be able to do that. It's a unique thing to make a TV show that's lasted this long. You really know the fans really have a relationship with those characters. That's a long relationship. Some of those fans have been watching the whole time. However, all of us that work on the show love movies. And it was very exciting to be able to make one. I have never had the pleasure, and I may never again. The fact that it's an adaptation of an existing television show had to be both our everyday reality and also something that we almost tried to ignore at the same time. We had to make it a movie that slots right into the TV show and leaves no fans disappointed and hopefully drops them right back where they were. They can pick up and watch, season 12 after they finish the movie. But we also had to make a movie that could live without the TV show. If there's somebody out there who hasn't seen the show and walks into the theater, I want them to have the feeling like, holy crap, what a good movie. And they may or may not want to go watch the TV show after that, and that is absolutely fine. We wanted to service that person too. One of the pitfalls that we thought would be there, a temptation, when you want to go bigger with the story, one urge is to make your world bigger. And we didn't want to get tempted by that. We made it a little bigger here and there. We pushed out at the seams a little bit, but what we ended up trying to do instead was make it deeper. We wanted to take the same locations you've already seen and tell you something you didn't know about that spot. The same people you already knew and tell you something you didn't know about them. We knew it. We wanted it to be a mystery because we love that genre and we knew it would give us the stakes, the higher stakes. We knew we wanted to have music because we knew it would help us with spectacle. And we knew that we wanted to have these action set pieces because of the same thing. It would fill the screen and make the audience feel like they got something for their money, that it was worth leaving the house to come see this thing. And I think the part that we worked the hardest on was figuring out something that was there in the show all along, but we hadn't explored yet. You are really having to dig and root around like some truffle pig, trying to find that story that somehow you haven't found up until that point. That was the real work, was how can we make this story true to the show, make it true to the characters, but it's emotional stuff that we haven't explored before. We love our crew. We have a great group. In many departments, we are talking about people who've been there since the very beginning. Bernard is one of those people. He boarded on season 1 from Australia, Bernard Derriman, and then we enticed him to come join the crew, and then we further enticed him to become a director. So he was the perfect person to direct this movie. We then added very carefully, mostly we took our folks from the series and gave them roles on the film, but we did add a few people. And I think it's worth highlighting our art director, Ruben Hickman, because he wasn't on the series with us. He came from a movie background. Ultimately, we feel, even though none of us had made a movie before, we all felt at least we're experts on Bob's. But what Ruben did that kind of made us all sit up a little higher in our seats at every meeting was he brought light in a way to the backgrounds, especially, but really to the whole movie. It just suddenly was infused with this kind of emotion that was waiting to be drawn out, but it just hadn't quite been lit yet. What I always like to say, it was like we got Edward Hopper to come in and paint the backgrounds of Bob's. I love animation. I've only ever worked in animation. Before that, I was bartending. I've never aspired to work in live action. I love live action and I watch a lot of it, but I don't need to tell stories in that medium. I like this medium, and movies are special. They really are. TV's wonderful and I love making a TV show, but movies have this possibility of being elevated. First of all, you're going to go see it with a bunch of other people. You're going to sit in the dark and experience that thing that can only happen in a room with other people, and that's just part of being human. And then animation is weird. You know, I think it enters the brain in a different way. I think 2D animation in particular is a really beautiful medium that has a lot going on. What I always say is I'd like to hire a neurologist to study people watching animation. I'd love to find out what parts of the brain light up when you see Bob and his family versus if we showed you the same movie in live action. I'm convinced we're sneaking in the back door of people's minds and lighting up different parts of the consciousness and probably unconsciousness, because animation's so strange. It's like a strange little magic trick that we try to pull off every week.